Hey, it's been a while. Just thought I'd hang out. Just checking in. How you doing? Anyway, yeah, I'm alive. That's the good part about this. I was just thinking about something, though, the other day. I don't know, just now I was thinking about it a little bit more. And it was just a little bit about how I've heard, you see here and there on the interwebs that men are fragile. Men are actually fragile creatures, and we're this and that, and we're actually sensitive and all this other stuff. And you know what? I don't want to really get into the nuances and the little, the social, war, the culture war part about it at all. But my own personal thoughts about it feel like it's come to some answer that feels like it makes a little bit of sense. Some kind of response, right? And it seems to be that no, men are not impervious, but we're not fragile. I would say that in the best way possible that I mean, women are fragile. They're soft. They're delicate, right? And I think that that's good. They're softer. They're more malleable. They're this and that. I don't know. You can turn this analogy into whatever you want, but that's the kind of the way that I'm seeing it in my own head. I'm not claiming to be right. I'm just riffing right now. But men are not fragile, but they are brittle, I think. I think men are brittle because we're rigid. And so we bring this world and around us, and we welcome people into our worlds and stuff like that. And the reason why we can even support the concept of a world and all this stuff, these ideas and stuff like that we house and we store into compartments, and the reason why we have that is because we're strong, we're sturdy, right? We're rigid, that kind of strength. But the problem is that we have breaking points. We have weak points, we have breaking points. The foundation, that's a whole nother conversation, the foundation itself, but let's just say the load-bearing wall, or the lower formations of the house or the building or whatever it is that's being built, whatever this analogy requires. If those things, they can be built pretty even dang well, but if they're cracked or they are weathered or they somehow get destroyed, it is very difficult to build it back. Men are brittle, so they snap. Right? Feel me? I'm not saying I know and understand women to the entirety of womanhood, and I'm not going to claim to. From my perspective, from what it seems to be, when women get stronger, they seem to be more... Yes, of course, both men and women become more impervious. Yes, that's just what strength is. They endure more. But when women get stronger, that strength, makes them slightly less malleable, which may or may not be a good thing. I'm not talking about flexibility. This is a completely different thing. I'm just forming these thoughts here. Maybe you can follow, maybe you can't. Maybe I'll make something of this. But when men get stronger, yeah, they continue to stay rigid. They build more support beams. They build more, a better wall or a taller wall or whatever it is. But it seems to translate to when women are hurt, they're torn. They're ripped, right? And it is excruciating, and it seems to be that it has lasting and long effects. It can be quite traumatic. For men, we may lose a wall, but if it's not a load-bearing wall, we'll still stand. We might put a little something, some plaster, maybe something to, while we rebuild that area, some rebar, while we're mixing the cement to repair that one area. But if you hit something in a man that brings him to his knees, that brings him down, it is very, very hard to stand that house back up. It's really, really hard. Like, sometimes it's impossible. Sometimes literally it takes a work of God. Literally. Because a man who has crumbled, a man whose house has been, and it could be because of a relationship, because of a woman, it can be because of a family member, a mother, a father, it could be because of the society, it could be whatever, it could be because of himself. It could be that he built a bad foundation, not a foundation, but it built, the lower parts of the house, the load-bearing wall wasn't built to spec, or whatever you want to call it. It could be all these things. But either way, when a man breaks, it's just like, it's not this that you get from a woman, that a woman may go through. And it seems like when women, again, they're traumatized or they're hurt they tear. They're shredded. I feel like, from what I can see, it seems to be less complicated and more possible. I'm trying to avoid the word easier, to put a woman back together, to fix a woman, than it does to fix, let's use the word repair, to repair, right, the heart. There you go. This sounds a little bit better. It's getting a little more PC or welcoming. It seems a little bit simpler and less complicated and less dire to repair the heart of a woman. And again, I'm speaking from what it looks like. I could be completely wrong. All the women listening, all two of you, I could be completely wrong, and that's fine. It's just what it looks like. So maybe I'll just stick to men. But men, to repair the heart of a man is like, man, that whole thing needs to be rebuilt. You can use the same schematics, maybe, if it was a good house, if it was a good building, good station, whatever. You might be able to use the same schematics, the same blueprint, same materials even. Or maybe you need to swap a few things out, maybe make some adjustments. But it takes so much work. And it's because we snap, we just, you know? We explode or implode, we collapse, right? It's kind of like, I heard this amazing metaphor when I was a child, and I always thought it made so much sense, and I really resonated with it. Of course, it wasn't about women or men or anything like that, but like a leaf or grass, tall grass in the wind, just goes. It's like, it doesn't break. It's going left and right, and the slightest wind moves it. And it looks weak. And a tree with a strong enough wind just cracks. And it's over. And it needs to, there might be new life that comes from the stump. But it's over. That tree is done. Everything that tree worked for to build up, right? All the branches above that nested, that housed nests for many birds, big birds, small birds. There might be small ecosystems happening, multiple within the tree itself, depending on the kind of tree, right? All of that's gone. It's just done. The grass was never meant to do all of this maintaining and holding up, right? It doesn't do that. And again, I'm gonna, wade into treacherous waters here, dangerous waters here again, and say, in this analogy, it is not perfect, but in some way is analogous to how men and women and their hearts, their psyches, their souls are broken and repaired or maintained, and how they hold up. Women being more like the grass. They hold up, they do protect, they do provide shelter for some. They're great to look at too. They're and they're great to touch. It's soft. That's not. I wasn't trying to get in that direction, but you know what I'm trying to say. But if you pulled out some grass, you could put some more back. You could put some more seeds. It's gonna be back, and it'll be repaired in a couple weeks, not seconds. Couple weeks, you'll have some tall grass again, right? But that tree, you're gonna have to wait decades to get that. To wait for a tree you can put a tire swing in, right? It takes 3 years for a tree to bear fruit. Well, I don't know if it's 3 years. It depends on the tree, I think. But it takes years. You can't just, you get a sapling and then it's bearing fruit. It takes time. It takes a while. And then when that tree bears fruit, it's got its roots set in. It's woody. It's no longer, and then, of course, it might still be a little bit soft or whatever, because, it's still juvenile. But it's more or less woody. Oh my god, I can't avoid any of these. Anyway. Shit. Anyway. It's rigid. And so when it breaks hard. And I'm not saying I'm not talking about necessarily myself. I'm just thinking, I've just been thinking about the vulnerabilities of men and women and the differences of, and just thinking about it, just been pondering. And it's like, man. And this might sound like an incel rant. But men, are built and designed to hold up so much. Whether it be a family, or a person, or a company, or what, it doesn't have to be, because it could be anything. We're built and designed more like the tree. Doesn't mean we're more valuable. It just means that that's our job. So we have to be rigid. We have to be tough. It doesn't mean we don't feel, right? Doesn't mean we don't have these emotions, or that we should necessarily ignore them or push them down. It means we have to process them differently, and we naturally process them differently. Definitely. But yeah, we snap.